Hi, I'm Sarah from Quail Cottage.
And I'm Katie from Grown by Lightning Hollows. We're two flower farmers here in Australia, and together we're your bloommates. Thank you for listening to our first episodes that dropped last week. It's kind of funny because when we recorded them, flowers were just starting, but now we're actually in the season. And so it was funny, like reflecting back on that and just, it was kind of us talking in winter, whereas now we're back.
It was a few weeks ago that we recorded them, and spring has well and truly sprung.
Yeah.
Like straight into temps, 25? We had 20, 27 one day? So it went straight from winter into like proper warm weather and things have taken off.
Yeah. And it's funny, I feel like when there's a break, it's kind of hard to picture how you're going to get back to the hard work of the actual flower season. And so we're kind of talking from that place of like, it's all coming, but it's here now. We're doing it.
It's here. Yeah. And you're like, how is this going to be full of flowers soon?
Yes.
But it will be.
It will.
It is already.
That's it.
So today we wanted to discuss how we choose what we grow, which is kind of like I don't know, I love talking about this.
Yeah.
And I love hearing people talk about this.
Yeah.
It's such a personal thing, but I love hearing people's reasoning.
Yeah.
And how they think about it. And I love hearing people talk about why they don't grow things.
Yes.
And like, I don't know, certain diva crops. And yeah.
Yeah, even if I have already made up my mind about a crop, I will still listen to other people talk about it.
For sure. Me too. Yeah. So we've I've laid it out with a bit of structure.
Nice.
And Katie's going to come in with her fast and loose approach, which will probably appeal to a lot more people.
Actually, I feel like you're the inspiration. You're the aspiration.
Well, growing on a small space makes you have to really be kind of fussy, I suppose. Yeah. But the first thing that I think about is who I'm selling to. Yeah. Would you say the same?
Yeah, I think so. The way that I plan, like I'm often torn between who I'm growing for because
You are torn.
Yeah, who I'm selling to is really different. Like I sell with a roadside stand and that's bright and colourful and wanting a long vase life and things that can be easy and like quick turnover and all of those sorts of things. Whereas, selling to florists.
Which you do as well.
Yeah, so many of those are opposites. Selling to florists and then also doing weddings myself. You know, wanting much softer colours, things that are not as important. Vase life not as important. And then wanting things that are special. Yeah. Like what's going to be that, cherry on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like stem length and consistent availability. Like if something is just a quick flush and it's done, it's not ideal for florists. They kind of get used to something and they continue to want it.
Yeah, that's so true.
And with florists, you have a bit more flexibility as far as pricing goes with event florists.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to grow a high value flower to sell to retail florists because they've got their own budgets in mind.
And kind of for them, this is making it a bit of an assumption, but having something really special that goes out in one bouquet doesn't make a big difference to their week. Whereas a wedding florist, one small thing that they're going to put in that bridal bouquet can make a big difference to them. So they're willing to spend the money. Whereas, one bunch that's going to go in just a couple of bouquets out of a week, retail florist isn't going to make much difference.
No, not at all. But you've kind of got to do your market research and work out what your customer wants or what they are missing, gaps you can fill, what they need more of. Talking to them is great, but if you're in a stage where you haven't got relationships yet, just stalking on Instagram, even not in your area, looking at what someone who grows and sells to the kind of customers you want to, like another farmer, looking at their Instagram for inspiration. And
I feel like there's just such a huge range. Like I say, that what I grow from my stand doesn't match with florists, but that's actually not really true. It's event florists because I have some great florists, retail florists that are really happy with the types of flowers I grow, and there is a lot of overlap between because they just want high volume of consistent flowers.
Yeah, and colours. All colours. They need all colours.
Exactly.
Yeah. The next thing I think about is constraints, and I actually really like having constraints because it limits choice, which I find very helpful.
Yes.
I work really well with like parameters around what I'm doing or with making decisions. So like for me, space is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And like the inability to have any sort of infrastructure.
Yeah.
We're really lucky we're in a temperate climate, so infrastructure is not a big deal for us.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that you find that helpful because I feel like I'm not very good at accepting constraints at all because I've got 25 acres and I'm always pushing the boundary. It's definitely not all usable, but say just last week, I've put in 4 new beds that will be the first to go under in a flood. And yet I'm stoked. I'm like, oh, it's more space. I filled it. I'm pushing that.
It's not underwater right now.
No, exactly. It's dirt at the moment. It's dry. So there's plants in it. And yeah, I just feel like I'm forever pushing that, which is definitely not a good thing, but it's funny how we are so different. And I will just be forever saying yes to things. So yeah, space isn't an issue for me. Time is a massive issue.
Yes.
I just keep planting, and that's Lady Katie's problem.
And creating more space that you'll have to weed. Yes. Climate as well, and the length of season. For us, again, that's not really an issue. There's only like 2 months really out of the year where nothing is growing.
Yeah.
Because in August, things kick back in for us, like late August.
Yeah. I think of, for me, I had chrysanthemums probably that I could have used up until the end of May. And then June and July is pretty light. But then there's stuff which we can talk about later that I did have flowering all winter. Not enough to make consistent sales, but I probably sold flowers every week, but just a
special
order here
orders.
or there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are very lucky that we can have stuff flowering pretty much the entire year. Mm-hmm. We have the downside, though, of the heat in summer.
We do indeed. There's certain things that we can't grow or can't grow when we probably should, like when other people would grow them, or we don't have them as long because the heat just wipes them out.
And then obviously the downside of not being able to grow things like tulips easily because it's too
peonies.
Yeah.
What are they? Lilacs. Lilacs are gorgeous and we cannot grow them. Pest and disease as well, that kind of comes along with climate. There's certain things that me and Katie don't grow because of pests specifically. I don't grow ranunculus. Well, one of the reasons I don't grow ranunculus is because of disease, because of the area that we're in. We're more prone to powdery mildew, and because it warms up quicker, they go over quicker for us. If I had the room, don't get me wrong, I would still grow them. But there was too many reasons when I was trying to pick things that I could cut off my list. I grew them last year and cut them for this year. And that was kind of an easy one for me to cut. Whereas it's one of your main crops.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And this year I have had issues with powdery mildew for the first time with them. But still, if I didn't have them right now, I wouldn't be able to put bunches together. Like the rest of my crops don't make a bunch. Like the ranunculus are the absolute stars.
Yeah.
And I think even with them not being at their prime this season, they have still more than made for themselves in space and cost. Obviously, they're an expensive crop to grow.
Yeah, that was one of my reasons that I had quite a list of reasons not to grow ranunculus actually, but we had a really wet winter. Rot is another reason that was on my list.
Yeah.
But again, I would still grow them if I had the space. Yeah.
And then the other thing of like pests, I feel like my classic answer to that is snaps, that in spring that they just get overrun with
cabbage moth.
Yeah, cabbage moths. But they're one of the things that has flowered for me all winter. I didn't really want to grow them last year. But I just couldn't say no to some plugs. And so I planted 2 quarter trays, like 2 different colours, a quarter tray of each. And they have been amazing. But I've had flowers. They started at Mother's Day. So they were planted in February.
I feel like in May. Found the sweet spot. And in this area, we should be growing snaps over winter, not in spring. I don't grow snaps either for the same reason. I just can't.
No. And it was so sad last year. I had beautiful, like big, like crazy long stems, and they were so great. And then all of a sudden, the caterpillar started coming out of them and just had to rip out like so many beds of them. And it was so sad because they would have just been like, I wish we could grow them in that kind of
You can treat them with dipel, or dipel, however you say it, which is like just a natural protein out of the soil that you spray on, they eat it and they die.
Yeah.
But you've got to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
And if you're in a high rainfall area like we are, it's really hard to stay on top of it.
And then I guess that brings us to another constraint of time, which, I did try that last year, but I just couldn't. I couldn't keep on top of it.
Yeah, I tried when I grew them 2 years ago and I couldn't stay on top of spraying. Yeah, time and like labor availability. So with you and Ian have kids, there's never two of you available at the same time for gardening, which means that it takes longer to get any jobs done.
Yeah.
Because it's only one set of hands at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like as I've expanded, I'm doing things to try and save me time, or like kind of even compromising on some things that are just trying to be, more efficient with time, because that's my limiting factor, really. Even, for example, at Mother's Day, I feel like I have reached my limit of, even if I grow more flowers, I physically don't have the time to make any more bunches than what I sold last year.
Yes.
Although I could sell wholesale then. That saves me time. Whereas normally I hoard my flowers at Mother's Day, selling my own bunches.
That's so funny. And then another constraint is like your tolerance for risks.
Yeah.
Katie and I are both big risk takers.
Yeah.
As stated, Katie's created beds in an area that floods.
And like, I'll be devastated. You'll hear about it if they go under.
They will at some stage.
Yeah, that's it. It's not if, it's when. Just hopefully when the beds are empty.
Winter flood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm just a believer that things are going to turn out. So I just do it.
Forever an optimist.
Yeah.
Bites us in the bum. But some people are much more risk averse than us. So things that come with more risk, like dahlias.
Yeah.
A risky crop. I think most gardeners have either cried or almost cried over pulling out a clump that is
there's so many things that go wrong with them, really. Yeah, like there's rot, there's virus.
Oh gosh, ripping out plants with virus is heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
Yes. So if you're averse to risk, that is something to take into consideration. If you're going to take it to heart too much, and or if you're prone to giving up when things get hard, or just throwing your hands up and needing a break, growing annuals or easier crops might be better for you.
Yeah, like lower investment. Yeah. Even like the fact that you direct sow lots of your things, that's always a risk. That can just be a complete waste of seed sometimes, or maybe it's just the way I direct.
For me, it's the opposite. It's more risky because I'm terrible at keeping things alive in seed trays. Yeah. They just bake, and I mean, I've got bottom water trays and everything, but if I accidentally skip a day of watering, they're done.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just I'm keeping them in the wrong area, but I have to keep them in that area so I remember to water them.
Yes.
They're right near my front door on my front veranda. Otherwise, they'll be truly neglected. But it does mean they're in the sun for, most of the day. They don't get afternoon sun, but mine are much safer in the ground. We've got irrigation and...
Yeah. Well, much more automatic for you.
Yeah, it is. One of my favourite things to think about when I'm looking at crops and like comparing crops is profitability. And I love data, and I'm not a numbers person. I'm terrible at maths, but I love data. So I love looking at like how profitable something is or could be compared to others. And profitability is variable depending on the farm and the person, and
totally
all of the constraints we just talked about affect profitability.
Yeah, and something that like when you're calculating how much it's going to cost you to grow something, obviously growing from seed is going to be way cheaper than buying plugs. And yet, my biggest constraint is time. Therefore,
absolutely,
this year particularly, I'm leaning towards buying plugs because it's one way, it's a corner I can cut, really.
Yeah. And when you think about the things that can go wrong when you are starting from seed, sometimes you've got to restart, or sometimes you get like half a tray will germinate or nothing will germinate.
Yeah.
And then that's more time that you've lost having to start again.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just worth buying plugs.
And then, when you're looking at seeds, particularly the ones that you've got to buy in large quantities, like buying from High Sun or Ball where there's $20 minimum, sometimes you'll have to buy $20 worth of that seed and you could get a tray for $90.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's still 4 times as much, 5 times as much.
But you're like guaranteed. Not guaranteed. It's going to go wrong. We've still messed up. Or not planted quickly enough. Or
yes.
Yeah. But it feels like less of a risk to me.
Yeah.
Buying plugs.
Yeah.
We don't buy plugs for everything. Not even. No. I definitely don't buy even half of my stuff as plugs.
No, I wouldn't.
Maybe like 30%.
I don't know. That's something I could think about.
Yeah.
I feel like my spring crops are definitely more plugs than summer. Like so many summers are.
Summer's easy. Everything is so easy to start from seed in summer.
But I love growing delphinium, and I did grow it from seed last year, and it was fine.
You grew so many from seed last year.
But it's just that, busyness. And they took up so much space.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier.
And having to prick them out and pop them up.
Yes. And then something like ranunculus, I don't think I've got it in me to even contemplate growing them from seed, which, hats off to those who do.
Some people do really well, but that's a long haul.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not for me. So with profitability, what I think about, I've got notes here. So
she's not doing quick maths.
I'm not doing quick maths.
There might be some. Check it later.
Yeah, we'll see. So what I think about is stems per square meter and revenue per square meter. So to work that out, I have to research first, if I've not grown the plant before, how many stems a plant on average will produce and how close they can be planted together. So if we're looking at zinnias, they on average produce about 30 stems per plant, and I plant them 25 centimeters apart. Are you the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes closer.
Yeah. I just planted out my first lot of zinnias, and I counted how many seedlings I had and how much space there was. And that's how much that space they got. I think it was between 15 and 20 centimeters. We've got slugs at the moment. They'll thin out.
They'll thin out for sure. So 30 stems per plant at 25 centimeters comes to 480 stems per square meter. And from there, you can work out your expected revenue per square meter as well for each crop by timesing the price that you'll charge for the stem with the amount of stems that will come from that square meter, if that makes sense. So
using zinnias as an
example again, if I'm charging, say, $1.20 per stem and there's 480 stems coming from a square meter, that works out at $576 per square meter. And then if we compare that to dahlias, because they're another popular crop, dahlias produce about 20 stems per plant in a season, and I plant them 30 centimeters apart. Is that what you do?
Mine's about 40. If you're giving me permission to squeeze more in.
I squeeze mine in because I'm restricted on space. Yeah, so 20 stems per plant at 30 centimeters works out at 220 stems per square meter. Less than zinnias, a lot less than zinnias.
Yeah,
and if you're spreading them out further than 30 centimeters, that's even less.
But then the dahlias kind of catch up because you're charging double.
Yes, that's right.
So they come out fairly similar, like with this maths, both between 500 and 600 stems. Sorry, no.
$500 and $600 per square meter. But then you have to think about like your costs involved and labor and inputs and everything like that, and risk, likelihood of plant and stem loss, or difficulty to plant.
Yeah.
For me, planting zinnias is so easy, like just direct sowing them. And I don't have to worry about rot or storing them. So in my mind, zinnias are so much more profitable when you're considering things like that. So if you're calculating your costs that go into something, if you want to actually I mean, it's all sort of an estimate because you can't really fully work it out. But if you're wanting to calculate approximate costs, the things you've got to think about are like seeds or tubers or plants, any compost or fertilizer, inputs like that, support like netting or twine, the stakes that you need for the support, irrigation, labor for bed prep, planting, harvesting, bunching.
And like there's certain crops that are going to be way more time consuming to harvest than others.
And some that are harder to harvest or harder to like condition, like stripping stems on pansies or phlox is painful.
And even for both of those crops, before you're getting usable stems, there is so much labor that goes into deadheading them, right?
If you deadhead them. Best practice.
Or you think you can get away with that as the pansy expert?
I wouldn't say that. I deadhead for the first few flushes of flowers. I deadhead to try and let the plant put all of its energy into like roots and the actual plant. But it's so hard to stay on top of deadheading once they are like proper pumping flowers.
Okay, so now I'm just sidetracking us for my own personal benefits. So what happens if you don't deadhead them? Do they start producing seed, or they'll still put up another flower on that stem?
Oh, yeah, they'll keep going for ages.
So then when you just pick it, you'll just pick off that dead flower.
Yeah.
Well, I can cross something off my to-do list and stop daily deadheads of my pansy. Oh, no. This is my first year attempting to grow them. So that's a good discovery. I've learnt something.
Yeah, they will die quicker. Like the plants will die quicker.
They'll wear out.
They'll wear out quicker.
Yeah.
But I'm not bending over. Deadheading. Like I've got like 1,000 pansies out there. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I do it through winter.
Yeah.
When they're flowering on like 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's no way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, stripping leaves off pansies is a process because they're quite delicate. You can't just strip. You've got to pick the leaves off. So that goes into things. I've got a spreadsheet that has all of my crops in it and does all the maths on this, and then it's color coded as well by like how easy a crop is. As far as all of this goes, like planting, starting from seed or whatever it is, harvesting, post harvest. It's like a traffic light system. And pansies and phlox are they're either orange or red. I can't remember because they're painful.
Yeah, okay.
And hurt my back.
Where would dahlias be on the...
They're red. Oh, yeah.
For profitability or just for
both?
Difficultness?
Well, that comes into profitability.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm putting more effort into them than something like zinnias or cosmos or corn cockle.
Yeah.
Like corn cockle is so easy because you direct seed it. Well, you can direct seed it. It's easy to cut because it's nice and tall. You do have to support it, but not like a huge amount. I just corral it with twine.
And then to go back to our stems per metre, you've got corn cockle worked out that because you can put so many plants in, so therefore...
Corn cockle I plant closer than this, but this is probably more recommended. 10 centimetres is recommended.
What are you willing to admit to?
I go more like 5 centimetres. I had them self-sow the year before last and they were very tight and I did not thin them.
Yeah.
And they did totally fine. But I do think I lost some to rot this year because they were crammed in so close.
And then we had such a wet winter.
Yeah. If it wasn't such a wet winter, it wouldn't matter. You can really cram them in. And I even think starting them later, like in spring rather than in autumn, you could get away with planting them closer because it's not going to be so cold and the dew's not going to stick around for ages. But yeah, let's say 10 centimetres. But really, I do them at 5. So double all these figures. So I get 5 stems per plant roughly. And at 10 centimetres, that's 500 stems per square metre. And if you're selling them for like $2 a stem, that's $1,000 per square metre.
Which is compared to between 500 to 600.
Yeah, for dahlias and zinnias.
So they're like double as profitable. If you're measuring your profitability by square metre.
Yeah.
As opposed to
I don't know how else you'd do it.
Well, like, because I just add more beds, square meters not my it's not my top priority. And actually, I mean, hearing this, I have one bed of corn cockle, which is my first year growing it. And in a 1 meter bed, I only have 2 plants across the bed. So they're 50 centimeters.
My gosh. You mean it's 1 meter width?
It's a 1 meter wide
done 2
bed.
rows?
Yes.
Oh,
correct.
Babe. You could have got so many in there.
Should have listened to this first.
Yeah, should have. Corn cockle, I interplant as well. So I do a row on either side with either pansies or phlox. So I'm getting even more out of that bed.
Yes.
And phlox is another one that's really profitable. I don't have the maths here in my notes, but for me, it's profitable. Yeah. It's a pain in the bum to strip and to harvest, actually, because it's quite tangly and you've got to bend right over to the ground. You basically cut the stem very low to the ground.
And like one of the factors is that you would usually be sold out of corn cockle and phlox.
Yeah.
So you don't have any wastage.
No.
Which is
to the point where I forget to leave some to go to seed every season. Yeah. Last year I had none of my corn cockle to save seed for. So I had to rebuy it. And it's so easy to save seed from. So I've actually got a note in my calendar
to stop harvesting.
Stop harvesting some of it.
Yeah. Now your question of me of like how else would you rate or
work out profitability.
My pause and lack of answer to that is because I don't have any of these figures. This is my first season where I'm recording how many stems I'm even harvesting. For that, I have no idea. I've got no idea. This will be my first year of actually total,
we're recording everything.
Yes, we're very new to the season. Let's see how long I stick at it. But of knowing even how many bunches I sell or any of that detail, because I just like to go off vibes. I don't plan on what's profitable. I would say one of my biggest factors is what did I miss last year?
Yeah.
Or in this moment, sometimes I'll make notes of what do I wish I had now? Say for Mother's Day, I wrote down what colors I really missed. I didn't have any bright pink in my kind of crops that I had at Mother's Day, and I really missed that. And I felt like
what do you wish you had more of?
Yes, what I wish I had more of. What do florists ask me for that I have to say, sorry, I'm sold out? Mm-hmm. Or I'm forever wanting more foliage.
Yeah.
So that's a goal, to try and get more foliage into my plan. Or I guess that can be replaced with bulk or filler or that sort of thing. But I'm so
fast and loose.
And one of my decisions that I made was the very first thing I did as a farmer florist was to do a wedding. And
as one does.
Yes, as one does. And a few weeks before found out that they just wanted eucalyptus style foliage, which of course I didn't have. And because I was doing it for free, I didn't want to buy any. Actually, I did reach out to another grower to see if I could buy eucalyptus, and they just never replied. And at the time, I didn't know how to buy that sort of thing. Yeah. And so I foraged off the side of the expressway with the cars and trucks going past at 110 kilometers an hour because I'd seen something that looked like eucalyptus, and I was like, I'm going to go and pick that. And it was awful and I hated it. And then that year I planted 60 eucalyptus in the hope that I would never have to forage again because I find it really unpleasant. That's the kind of way that I do lots of my
too.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
That's how I crop plan. It's what have I missed? What am I scarred by in my past?
Yeah.
This year, my plugs of ranunculus got sent the wrong pastel mix, which doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I've ended up with basically 2 beds of pale pink, and I'm so sick of pale pink. And it's not me. It's I feel like the bunches don't look like my style. But out of what I have 5 beds of ranunculus, and 2 of them are pale pink. So it's a large percentage, and they're beautiful, right? They're these big, amazing,
fluffy marshmallow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But next year, I reckon I won't have any because I'll rebound from this to being like, nope, there is no pale pink ranunculus coming this year.
Not welcome in my batch.
Exactly.
That's too funny. If you're calculating costs, though, if you do want to calculate costs, and you want to work out labor, that is really hard to do.
Yeah.
Just off vibes. I actually do calculate labor off vibes.
Oh.
You kind of have to think about you've got to think about all the things that go with that crop, all of the jobs, the tasks.
Yeah.
And on average, how much you would spend on that crop each week. And for things like dahlias, there's more than just the growing season. There's the digging, dividing, and storing. So, yeah, if you're thinking about dahlias, for me, I have in my spreadsheet that I spend 80 hours a year on dahlias. And you've also got to work out, if you're trying to work out profitability with labor, you've got to work out a labor cost.
Yeah.
Like if you were paying yourself, which I am not at that point in my business yet where I am paying myself, what would you pay yourself per hour? And I should probably have it in my spreadsheet set a bit higher, but I've got $25 an hour.
Yeah.
I would not dig dahlias and divide dahlias for $25 an hour. God, no. But for the sake of keeping my costs lower.
You're willing to do it for the love.
Indeed. So that works out 80 hours times $25 an hour is $2,000 in labor in a year. Yeah. And it would be more than that if I was actually paying someone.
Yes. True.
So that's a chunk.
Yeah. This is a bit of a sidetrack, but my one spot where I've worked out how much I wanted to pay myself was with weddings, what I'm going to charge. Because to start with, when I started doing weddings, it was people that would pick up their bouquets, whatever, from my house.
Yeah.
And then for the first time, they wanted me to go and spend the day and set up a ceremony arrangement on all of that. I was like, okay, well, how much extra am I going to charge for that day? And I just decided it was what I would get paid if I went to work for that day, because I have to take it as annually. So that is probably one of my, that I was just like, well, that's how much I should get paid. But I definitely could not afford to pay myself at that rate for general functions.
No, me either. Gosh. So with all of that in mind, as far as cost goes, with labor and all the inputs and everything, you would calculate that total cost and divide that with the total number of stems that you would expect to harvest from all the plants you're growing. And that would give you cost per stem for you to work out your profit per stem. Cost per stem as in what it's costing you to produce that stem. So if a dahlia costs like $1.30 for you to grow and you were charging $2.50 per stem, your profit would be $1.20 per stem, which I don't have the maths here, but that's a pretty good margin.
Yeah.
But you've also got to consider the stress and the effort.
Yeah, and how much space they're taking, like for you, how much space they're taking up and for how long of the season they're taking up. Because if you can only sell 100 stems and you're making $1.20 profit, that's not enough to make $100 profit.
Yeah, and you've got to compare it to other crops as well.
To decide.
Yeah, $1.20 is a good profit margin, but in comparison to corn cockle that you can cram in and that is so much easier and less stressful, it's a no-brainer for me that I've cut my dahlias down heaps.
And then to kind of balance that out, what do you actually, like, how do you decide when it's just something that you grow because it makes you excited?
Yeah. Well, dahlias are that.
Yeah. And then things that you're not motivated to grow, they'll make you money. Do you have anything like that? Things that make you money, but...
Yeah, lace.
Oh, yeah.
They are, for me, they're profitable because I don't have to do a single thing. They just come back. They're pretty drought tolerant. They just seed themselves. I don't support them. I don't do a thing other than cut them. So for me, they are profitable, but they do not bring me joy. What else? What about you?
I mean, I feel like zinnias are a little bit that for me. They're just a workhorse, but they don't particularly excite me. Yeah, it's so funny. And you and I grow different zinnias a bit. And like there's some that are beautiful. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a nice one. But they're not exciting to me. I'll say that. And then like, you know, if something goes wrong with my zinnias, I'll really miss them. Which that happened with my cosmos last year. I'd really taken it for granted and just been like, yep, I always have cosmos. And then, it didn't work out last year. And I really missed them. And then I had them in autumn. And they were beautiful. And I'm like, okay, more cosmos. Again, the vibes. So much cosmos this year.
Funny. For me, zinnias excite me because They're easy to harvest. They're so productive. I find it so satisfying harvesting them and having like buckets of them and bunches of like being able to harvest like lots of bunches of the same flower excites me.
Yeah.
And this year I've reined myself in on the amount of varieties that I'm growing. So I'll be able to like have that even more, like on a larger scale. Like I've done a full bed of Oklahoma white, which is like 80 plants. And if each of those produces 30 stems, I don't know what the maths is there. That's a lot. Yeah.
And what are your diva crops or plants that just bring you joy that you're growing, even if they're not profitable?
Dahlias.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grow dahlias because I will get FOMO if I don't.
Yeah.
I love every stage of dahlias. Even the digging, like the digging is like digging for treasure. Seeing how many tubers come from one tuber is crazy. And then the dividing and the counting and the data. And I was so restrained this year in the dahlia sales. I think I ordered 3 varieties.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Isn't it? Pat myself on the back for that. And I got my unicorn dahlia.
Yeah.
My other one is roses. They're not really a diva crop, but they're something that requires a lot of space to grow for production and can require, I mean, depends on your area, but can require like infrastructure to grow on a really decent scale for florists. But I grow them for joy because I love them.
Yes, I'm the same with roses. Like I don't grow a lot, maybe have 40, and I rarely use the flowers, but I love them and I like having them. And one of my big investments last year was planting, well, not big for me, was planting 20 climbing roses along the front of our property. And
they're going to be beautiful.
Yeah, so many of the flowers will not be used, but great if they do fit in with a colour scheme for a wedding or an order or something. But I have this vision of wanting to be able to sell big, like metre to 2 metre long branches of climbing roses as like a statement piece.
Yeah. Even just the foliage.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Will I make my money back on them? I'm not sure. Yet to be seen. But it's also going to make our property look beautiful.
It is.
It's going to grab attention, hopefully.
Yes, indeed. It will.
And then, I would also have proteas as my diva crop, which is so hilarious when they grow so well in like dry, barren areas. But for me, in a flood zone, like heavy clay, they're divas. And I keep planting them. I keep spending money on them because I love them. And last year when I was actually harvesting the flowers, I was like, no, I'm not giving up. I had previously sworn off, never again, not spending any more money on proteas. And then, I'm adding more. I'm still adding more.
Yeah.
Because they bring me a lot of joy. And I'm so proud of them. The very first bouquet that I put together that was all natives. Well, you know, if you're considering proteas as natives. I mean, native style flowers. And then I was so proud of it.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know where they do well on your property now, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even like I have 2 main areas where they're planted and the king proteas do better in one area, whereas the like pink ice ones seem to do better in the other. Touch wood, now that I've figured that out, they seem to be going better.
That's awesome.
But my, I guess, other crops that bring me joy would be like delphinium. I absolutely love them.
They're profitable for you too.
Yeah, they are.
They will be this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last year I didn't have as good outlet for them. And a lot of them, not that they were wasted, like I sold them, but I sold them for less than what I should have been. But hopefully this year will be better. But I just love them so much. They're usually like as tall as I am, these big, I grow white and blue mostly. Although I do really love the soft purple ones as well.
Yeah.
Dahlias, I love them, but for me they are profitable as well. And one of the ways that dahlias are profitable for me is because they're such large flowers to sell retail, which is just go together so quickly. When I'm harvesting dahlias, they're quick to harvest and strip and bunch, and that makes a huge difference for me.
And you're trying to get your bunches done at night.
Yeah.
Kids have gone to bed. You're trying to hustle. And being able to throw a couple of dahlias in and it fill out the bunch. That saves so much time.
And again, the way that we're so different in like you measuring profitability by square meter, whereas mine is just time. I can go, like whatever can happen quickly is the best. Like
especially like post planting, like when it's ready to go. You've got time during the week as far as planting and all of that sort of the actual growing side goes, but you're trying to save time harvesting and putting bunches together. Yeah.
Which, like I think I've said in our introductory episode, one of my areas of growth is trying to be more efficient. And last night, I'm proud to say that I washed buckets, harvested and arranged 11 bunches, which isn't many, but so Sunday's a quieter day for me. 11 bunches in an hour. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. To do
And
the whole
bucket.
start to finish.
Gosh. Well done. Very impressive.
That was just a little brag. Not related.
It was a good brag. And I guess like personal choice comes down to it as well, and actually being excited about what you're growing so that you want to care for the things.
I cannot keep things alive if I'm not excited. My dear mum buys me plants a lot, and if I haven't like done the research and decided it's something I want to grow, I'm hopeless. I kill them all.
Yeah. So you've got to be excited to have the motivation to keep going, I feel like.
How about crops that you've completely ruled out? What have you cut out of your to-grow list?
Snaps for sure. Because of the caterpillars, but also because they are a pain to support and they grow.
And post-harvest as well, the fact that you can harvest them as perfectly straight stems.
And they follow the light anyway. Which is fine to have a little bit of a bend, but if you end up with one on a full right angle, it's not ideal. No. And for me, another one is Delph, because of the like how I work out my profitability.
They're not profitable
for me. The space required and the number of stems per plant, it does not work out. So,
and they're not reliably a perennial for us either.
No. So definitely not. I found when I grew them, they rotted quite easily too.
Yeah, okay.
My soil's a lot wetter. I'm a lot more sheltered here, so that probably has something to do with it.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I've not thought of that before. I thought mine were because of the heat, but I have some that are still alive 3 years on. Wow. And they flowered for me over winter. I had Delph all winter, which was really lovely.
Yeah.
But they're on my mount, which has really good draining. I thought it was because it was protected from the western afternoon sun. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I had some rot.
Yeah.
They just disconnected from the roots. Those are my two that I can think of. What about you?
Yeah, snaps as well, except now that I've found my planting them in summer to be winter flowers, I'm going to do that again. And then poppies, I had ruled out. Similarly, I'd never grown them to where they were productive enough. And then they also had the issues with caterpillars. So I'm going to try them this year, planting them in summer, providing them shade to try and get them through and get winter flowers. That's a to be continued.
And actually, poppies are one that I don't grow either. Yeah. And my reason for that is I can't stay on top of harvesting them.
Oh my gosh, mine have never flowered enough that's been an issue for me. I'm really bad at growing poppies, but they're so beautiful.
Even the ones, even if they weren't super productive, staying on top of harvesting them at the right stage before the bees get to them is really hard when you work. But through winter, they would open slower, so that could be a good one.
And I find the things that I because I'm desperate for flowers in winter, I will harvest everything because you're out looking for what to harvest. Yeah. And then one of my other ones is Lisianthus, because I've just never grown them well. And they're stunning, but they're also, they travel well. And so florists tend to be able to get them fairly easily from bigger growers.
Yeah.
And they're just a pretty high investment for something that, I think I've bought trays maybe 3 years in a row and never made my money back. Last year I had 2 harvestable stems. It was so sad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And do they flower around Christmas time?
Yeah, they flower at a time when I have heaps of other flowers. So I don't really have a need for them, which I guess is, there's definitely things that I have cut out in the past and then found that they actually fill a gap for me. And so I've made it back onto my list.
Yeah.
Like gladioli and lilies, which don't excite me. I don't love them. But they flower. They're a focal flower to have kind of in between ranunculus and dahlias.
Yeah. Glads are so fun.
Glads are really fun. Yeah. And they sell well for me because they're big and bright.
Yeah. They're having a comeback.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew Godetia and Linaria are 2 little fiddly flowers. Kind of, I feel like they're a bit like cornflower vibes of like fiddly and small, so they don't add a lot.
And like garden plants.
Yeah.
But they fill a gap.
Yeah, exactly.
They flower when you need them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not growing a lot of them this year, but I, at the last minute, decided that I couldn't leave them off my list completely.
Do they come back for you?
Sometimes like they will reseed, particularly the Lunaria. Yeah. Which I said that funnily because I was trying to differentiate between that and Lunaria, which is
honesty.
Yeah. Yeah. So not talking about honesty. Yeah. The little like mini snapdragon flower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think you've also got to consider like your workhorses versus following trends, like keeping what you've just talked about, your things that bloom at the right time. They may not be things that like really excite your customers. They're fillers. Like you've got other blooms in with them.
Yeah.
To excite people and excite yourself. Yeah. They're just the backup.
And like I find, my business is so much people need to rely on that they'll be able to come and buy flowers from me. So I don't want to have a month where I don't have flowers. Yeah. Like even if they're not particularly exciting bunches, I want people to be able to know that they can drive there and they will find them.
Yeah.
Which, maybe if you're selling to florists, that's not such an issue. Maybe if you have a period in your year where there's no flowers that you particularly like, you could just say, we're off for a month.
Yeah.
Like it probably, depends on kind of how you want it. You don't want florists to forget about you either, but
I take at least a few weeks off over Christmas.
Yeah.
And then 2 months off in winter.
Yeah. Also different. Another crop that I grow, grow is the wrong word. A crop that I don't weed out, which is vetch, which I think maybe we did mention that it's completely taking over my mound at the moment.
But got some vet.
Oh my God.
Now, who?
From my place?
Probably. And I am weeding it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because you wouldn't sell it. Although I did sell some at the harvest this week.
How good.
Yeah. But it's just like green with a tiny little purple flower, but it lasts forever. Cute. And for me, it's giving me foliage at the moment. And so it's worth it. But I've never planted a seed. It's a weed that was there. And I don't even know how I discovered that it lasts a long time.
Desperation, probably.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's used in cover crops. It's a legume. So I'm always like, oh, well, it's also improving my soil.
It might be crowding out all my other plants, but it's improving the soil.
Exactly. See, I'm that positive person.
The eternal optimist.
Yes.
Too funny. I think that's everything really that I consider. Do you consider anything else?
Whether you're trialing anything. Is there anything that you haven't like?
Oh, yeah. I am trialing some stuff. Are you?
Oh, yes.
What are you trialing?
I've got Winged Everlasting.
Oh.
I had it grown before and I was pretty sure I'd like it. Yeah. But and it's flowering at the moment and I love it.
Yeah. How much did you grow? Did you commit?
Like 40 plants.
Yeah, that's a good trial batch.
Yeah. It's like one bed's worth in one of my areas. And then I also have Russian status or Raptail status, which I had grown a small amount 2 years ago.
Oh,
but I wanted to see how it would go with fluorescent for drying, lots of things. And then Campanula I tried last year and absolutely loved it.
Oh, it was beautiful.
So I have a row of Campanula this year.
Yeah. You've got more this time.
Yeah. But it was something that I tried last year and I had like a handful of stems. And actually, interestingly, it didn't sell that well in my like roadside bunches. So it's funny.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, quite often they'd be the bunches that were left over.
Oh, yeah. I would gravitate towards them because you don't see them.
No, they're not common.
No.
But maybe it's that thing of they're harvested when they're quite closed. They're
something that
people are drawn to.
Yeah.
But I know that it will do well. I'm confident. But now being able to sell to florists.
Oh, florists are going to eat it up.
Yes. And then, I'm trialing pansies this year as well. Which one tray, so
that's
far,
a trial.
I think I'm probably going to be addicted. I haven't had one usable stem, but just having them in the garden, I'm addicted. And then something else that I've kind of invested in without having any usable stems from it yet is phlox, as in perennial paniculata garden phlox.
You've gone hard on them.
Yeah. And so far they're coming back up after spring, like nowhere near flowering yet. But I'm really excited as something quite different. And actually it's come from Georgie from Common Farm. I just saw hers and have loved hers.
They're gorgeous. They're like kind of hydrangea-esque.
Yeah.
Do they flower at a different time to hydrangeas?
I'd say they're later than hydrangeas.
Yes.
That would be my guess. I mean, hydrangeas, they could fall into something I grew for Joy because I don't have.
Me too.
I don't have enough space.
And hellebores, actually. Yeah, hellebores and hydrangeas, love.
Yeah.
And I've got like maybe 15 hellebores that have really bulked up this year. Gosh, they were so joy bringing during winter. And hydrangeas I love so much, and they're so easy to propagate.
For those of us that can take cutting. That's one of my biggest failures is I cannot grow a cutting for the life of me.
Oh, that's so funny. I'll grow you some.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I don't know. I've got maybe the same amount of hydrangeas, a couple that are going to be well established this year.
So
I've got
exciting.
3 that are like in their 3rd, or even one is in its 5th year because we brought it with us from our rental. It was in a big.
Is it in the ground now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we planted it literally like the week that we moved in.
Oh.
It's very happy. I pruned it wrong last winter, though, and got no flowers from it. So I have not touched it since that pruning, last winter.
Yeah.
Not this one, just gone. So hopefully it'll be pumping this season.
Mine, I've done a big reshuffle of my hydrangeas over winter. And I have lots in pots because I just don't have a lot of shade on our property. But yeah, so I don't know that I'll get many flowers this year because they've kind of all been, interrupted, I guess.
Yeah.
Disturbed.
Jostled around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something in terms of trying to work out what to grow. Yeah, last year we sent out an email to the florists that are part of our group, the Harvest group, to try and get an idea of like what sort of flowers what they're looking for. And that was really helpful. I feel like the responses that we got were good and kind of hopefully also showing that we're invested in them as well. So when you're crop planning, maybe that's something that is definitely worthwhile.
And colour as well. Like even if you're not really interested in changing what you grow, getting an idea of what colours florists want. And you could even do like a poll on your Instagram so that they feel like they can engage and have choice. You can even do that with customers if you sell directly to customers. And then they're more invested when the thing flowers too. Like they had a choice in or had a hand in choosing the varieties. So that's something fun you can do. As far as trialing things goes though, my trial crops this year.
Sorry, I just totally took over.
That's okay, it's fine. I got us back on track. I'm trialing Salpiglossus.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's like a true brown.
Yeah, nice.
The cafe au lait colour. And I'm also trialing long-stemmed petunia. Yeah. Petunia allegra and millet, foxtail millet. Yeah. Yes. So those are the 3 things that I'm trialing in like 50 plants. The millet actually I'll be succession planting. You can plant them an inch apart.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you just get 1 stem per plant?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm going to find out. I couldn't find that information anywhere because it's not like all the information online was using it as like a crop for seed for like grain. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll report back.
And then I feel like both of us we've in our last couple of years done lots of trialing and we're more towards narrowing it down. Like my goal is rather than thinking of new crops to try growing, I'm supposed to be reducing my crop. It's really hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah. It's a rule that I made for my new beds that are like specifically.
They're tried and true.
Yes. Yeah. Where things are getting a whole bed to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. You're growing in bulk. You're not growing like a little bit of this and a little bit of that in those beds.
Yeah. So my farm is kind of, I would say I have a perennial area, a trial small amounts area, and then a bulk wholesale area.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. Anything that's completely failed? You've had that?
Yeah, I have. Last year, my ranunculus and anemones. Which is, I was traumatized by it, so that's why I cut them. To be fair, I grew them in crates. The soil was shit, and it was a dry start to the season when I planted them, and the soil was terrible.
Hydrophobic.
Yeah. And then it was really wet for a while, and then they got very sick, and I lost a lot to rot, and that was an investment gone. And so if I planted them in the ground, that it's less risky, but there's still risk.
Yeah. Anemones are on my list of fails, but they're not cut yet. I can see each year what I've done wrong, and so I'm blaming myself and I'm willing to try again.
Mine have done pretty good, but what I've noticed is I'm not getting enough stems at a time for it to be worth selling them to florists. For you, it would be fine, but like only having like 3 bunches to sell each week, not when I can grow something else in that space that will be way more productive.
One of my other fails was my bed of stock, which I'd previously been unsure about stock, but for me it's a good thing for early winter. And then I planted out an entire bed, and I was so proud of filling a 10-meter bed of that. Most of it I had grown from seed, and it was just so many plants, and I got them in, and then it got flooded, and I didn't get a single stem. But I've got.
Did you cry?
No, I don't think so. But I'm very sad recently because my stock that I was planted in other areas has been amazing. And every now and then I think about what if I'd had that 10-meter bed? Because previously when I'd grown it, I would have said it was never florist quality. I wouldn't have sold. They weren't long enough stems. They weren't full enough flowers. Whereas the stock I've had this year has just been beautiful. And I'm very sad about that. So yeah, that's one thing that
has been a proper fail.
A proper fail, yeah. But it does make me think, okay, stock does have a place in my crop list.
Yeah. Maybe not in a bed that floods.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Although it is a plant that just produces 1 stem per plant.
Yes, it can't have prime real estate.
It can't have prime real estate.
And actually it's in those lots of beds, it will be the very last one to flood. And it still didn't make it. I'll come up with something. I've got some time. But yeah, stock's definitely going to be in my crop plan.
Good.
And we've I feel like we've covered a lot of different aspects to it. And hopefully, showed our contrasting ways that we do it. Maybe you'll fall somewhere in the middle, or maybe you'll agree with one of us and not the other. Maybe you'll think I'm crazy.
Or you'll think that I'm crazy.
Well, thanks so much for making it through. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a long episode because we were excited to talk about all the things.
But next week we'll be talking to another grower, our first interview. So that's exciting.
Make sure that you subscribe wherever you're listening to our episodes so that they drop into your feed, and follow us on Instagram where we'll share even more blooms behind the scenes. And if you're lucky, we might even show you the weediest corners of our farm.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.